My third guy plays some games.
Alright, hi everybody, Weather Guy here. We are back with some more great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hope you're doing great, I'm doing pretty good. Last we left off, Sherlock Holmes was all depressy because he could not play his music correctly. He had lost the skill. But it turns out that he simply got the wrong violin back from the pawnbroker. So we're gonna try to trade that back. But first we're gonna stop on Baker Street. I just want to see what's here. Get a good look at. There's the pawnbrokers that we were just talking about. Anything else to look at though? Pawnbrokers. Look at all the different things in the window of the shop. Ah, that's Windibank's, the pawnbrokery. Looks much smarter than a pawnbrokers in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. I find pawn shops at home rather inapproachable, personally. It reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. Felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Ryu. Alright. Anything else to look at? Not on this side of the street, it looks like. Let's go to the right side. This is our home on Baker Street, 221B. It's already been 2 months since we started taking lodgings here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. Whatever. If I ever find myself before a court of law now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'd be happy to defend you, of course. Alright, I guess that's all to really look at here. So let's continue on to the actual pawnbrokery. See about getting that violin back. Stradivarius, or whatever it's called. And again, it's been 2 months since that last case. With the woman who got stabbed in the back mysteriously. So this is a British pawnbrokery. Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions here that I've never laid eyes on before. Ah, Sasato, and that spark of wonder in your eyes, you can't wait to scour the shelves, can you? Get the impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill for me. Oh yeah, Mr. Sholmes is back in his usual garb. Last time, he was dressed quite, more fancily, I would say. Now he's back in his detective gear. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. Clearly, Mr. Sholmes means business too, judging from the spark of fury in his eyes. Is he back to his normal self? There's Windibank. Mr. Sholmes, sir, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Ryu, and it's time to inform Mr. Windibank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Alright, let's talk to him. Let's ask about the violin. Naturally, you will recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes? This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windibank. The color of the wood is different, it has holes in it, it's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An excusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. Dude, I love that animation of him running. Is he gonna shoot himself? You know how much I want this to be the thumbnail for this video, but I just can't. You can't have a thumbnail of a guy with a weapon to his temple like that. No. Maybe I'll do one just of him running to go get it. We'll see. Yeah, this is Oh my gosh. You know what that reminds me of? There's this YouTube channel called Entrepreneur. And it's spelled like second half of the word is spelled like manure, right? And it's all like satirical business type videos, motivational speaking type videos, right? And one of the main characters is a guy named Royce DuPont. Okay. And he often goes way, way, way over the top to where it's inappropriate for where I talk about a lot of them. Anyway, he'll do things like, I think he even puts a weapon to his own head in one of the videos to try to close a deal. You know, he'll be like, do this or I'll, you know. Anyway, I highly recommend you check that out. It's really funny stuff. I don't think that will be necessary, do you? Dude, he's heavy breathing. He's gonna full send. If I just may say one thing before I pop off. Yes. It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes' fault. Oh no, he's gonna be like, do it. As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did? And when I turned to controvert you, you had taken the viola and left, sir. That definitely sounds like Sholmes. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly on my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall not grumble or grouse any longer. May this guilt die with me. No, stop, my dear fellow. The fault is mine. Are we good? Dude. Kinda looks like me. It would appear that the fight is over. But yeah, he totally turned that conversation around with that maneuver. Look at all those hats hanging, those look sick. I do humbly apologize, Mr. Windibank. Evidently, my questionable disposition precipitated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Herlock Sholmes without that questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. Oh, that was Rhea that was talking. Whoops. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I needed to remind you of the peculiar collection of items you've brought through my door in the past. Oh, peculiar items? In the extreme, man. For example, the unpublished manuscript of an eponymous work, the novels of Herlock Sholmes and some such. Oh my, a new, full-fledged novel? An unpublished? A story I get to read, you mean? Oh, forgive me. Wait, before you die. This is so funny, I'm sorry. Oh god, we gotta hear about the unpublished story. I must know more, tell me everything. Wow, Sasato is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought in an old metal chest, you see. I should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Windibank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir, not a farthing more. It houses something of very great value indeed. The latest manuscript, recounting the adventures of one Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I beg your pardon, a manuscript? You did wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do, for I am confident it will be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? Do I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this? I continue to pay your fee, do I not? Then kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Well, of course, sir, of course. You're safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. Oh my god. Dude. this is the funniest character in this game. He's so good. It came out of nowhere. I wonder, could I ask you something? Oh, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that sable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Without wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha, but for your splendid attire, ma'am, 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I've suffered some sort of defeat here? I love that this guy's dressed so sillily also. Like, I love the timepiece that's hanging in his pocket. I love how oversized the buttons are. I love his massive pink bow tie. He looks fabulous. Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokeries are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you describe. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionate loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If in that time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, their items are happily returned. But what happens if they don't pay you the money? Then the items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never sell items before the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am, that's right. Which means some considerable responsibility rests on my shoulders. Should a customer's precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. It never stops with him every time. The very idea, Mr. Winnebeck, is an absurdity. One should never talk of one's demise so casually, says the man who was telling us all it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. Oh, what sort of measures? I engineered a simple device which Mr. Winnebeck has installed here in his shop. I call it the Red-Handed Recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Winnebeck? What was that deep sigh about? Alright, let's hear about the Red-Handed Recorder. What on earth is a Red-Handed Recorder? Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are two just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It is indeed a camera furnished with some 100 pieces of cellulite film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I can show you. Yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity at the shop counter. I developed a special type of film so sensitive it produces a crystal clear image even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. Yeah, you can't even get that today. Really. Yes, you can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look. I love there's just a picture of a dog in the pawn shop, like a small, regular picture. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that the photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur in between times? One could only say, that would be a cruel twist of fate. I mean, it's more likely than not that that's what would occur. I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause for distress of late. I beg your pardon, Mr. Winnebeck. Surely they are not anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not 1 but 2 cameras in my shop after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. I'm afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Yeah, good point. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Whoa, heaven help us! Adorable. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windibank. Perhaps this might mark the end of the peculiar items you try to pop, Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving that gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry? I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself can find me. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windibank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. Lovely. So, Mr. Ryu, now we can explore at last. Oh yeah, now we have to actually look around the shop at all the millions of things, huh? Oh bother. Alright, let's look at this thing here. Look at this! What could this lovely big shiny box be? That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have such things in your own country. Oh my, yes, but I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Lovely. Lovely. My daughter got a music box for her birthday and it's so cute. Ah, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of the larger variety, commonly found in public houses and restaurants. There is a metal disc inside on which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music you care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine. Indeed, though their popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. Alright. What we got next? Some books? Magazines? Look at that enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windibank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Which might explain the thing that catches my eye far more than the ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of pilfering an article herein, my dear fellow. I assure you, Mr. Windibank would not hesitate to draw that weapon with the speed belying his portly size. Oh, you don't mean he'd blow his brains? Man. What a good punchline. Like, yeah, I really thought it was going to go in the direction of he would shoot you if you try to steal his, blow his brains out. So good. Oh my. But in any case, of course we would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? Oh my god. That's really, 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 really funny. Oh, what's this back here? It's just... There seems to be a little door hidden behind that curtain there. That leads to the storage room, where Mr. Windibank keeps articles that are currently in pawn. Ah, I see. There's nothing of particular interest inside. I certainly wouldn't recommend any larcenous activity. Recommend it or not, it's not something I tend to do. There is but one key, and Mr. Windibank keeps it in his pocket at all times. Before he sleeps, he places it into a small pot, which he slides under his pillow. Oh, how on earth do you know about that, Mr. Sholmes? I am a detective, sir. It is my business to know what others do not. I am frequently assailed by information that I neither care for nor wish to retain. Mr. Sholmes, you are a wonder, and the prime suspect of this pawnbrokery is ever burgled. Man, I still can't believe. What an assortment of things there are on these shelves here. Crockery, footwear, clocks, and watches. Almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items offered for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn, or colloquially pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in the shop for sale at a price of his choosing. Oh, yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one can extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. A treasured university uniform? Never. It embodies my student spirit. Fantastic. Alright, now we got this side to contend with. Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? Seems to have two little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What you are looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment while I just have a look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopically as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, it is of little consequence today. Alright, then I'm going to try it. Oh boy. Mr. Ryu, you must see. At once. Oh, alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed like I'm trying to look at my own nose? I'm really curious about... What? What the... I'm curious about what's... Dude, I'm so tempted to cross-eye myself right now. That didn't help at all. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, it's one picture after another, too. The picture on the right was taken before. Right? No. No, that's not the case. It's from different angles. Because look at where her shoulder is compared to the Mitchell sign. It's closer in the right picture. So it's from different angles. That's interesting. I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of depth is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? It is no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. Oh. Yeah. Okay. For some reason I thought that would be more significant than it was, but that's okay. Alright, so we have a calendar, we have this on the floor. Look at this! Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. Ah! There's a small catch just here, look! We're gonna open it, aren't we? Okay. Oh my, that's amazing. It is some sort of spring-loaded mechanism. Which one will never manage to put back the way it was before. What are you two doing? What, us? Nothing. No, nothing at all. Whatever this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Okay. Is that not just another version of this? Alright, so it's just the calendar now, I think? Okay. That's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th April, today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It is an Eastern-style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. Perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windibank. Who was it who walked out of here with the wrong violin before? Well, when the agreed storage period has passed without repayment, articles are forfeited, you see. So I have to keep a close eye on the date. It's something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I can see you're very dedicated to your job. Fantastic. Uh-oh. 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 Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Oh, it's this chick again from the third case, the one who's a thief. She was in the Mr. McGildick case. You know, she was the one that was hiding inside the carriage under the seat. Wait, don't we? No? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGillick's trial 2 months ago. Yeah, sure enough. Gina Lestrade. Alright. A pickpocket. And she also knows Iris, because Iris lent her that item. Gordon Bennett, you lot. You lot. That was a totally too masculine of a voice there. Hello, Miss Lestrade. I hope you've been well. Hey, what? You remember me then, do ya? Gosh, I wish I remembered how I did her voice. Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So, what? So, what are you doing around here? Down and out like the rest of us? Nothing to eat? Come to pop that black weasel sorry coat, have ya? What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Ah, good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. So, you have something of value to pawn, do you? Allow me to see the article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Winnebank on your behalf. Pull the other one. I don't need no help from some stuck-up D. Get out of my business. Go on or I'll make trouble for you. As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. Alright. Interesting. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What is that thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? I wonder if the metal disc is what's used in the recorder that we saw. And you, go on, leave me alone. Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Sato can really stand her ground when she wants to. Whatever. Oh, we gotta talk to her though, don't we? Somehow, I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, alright? I'm a Londoner just like everyone else. That's a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably never even belonged to her. Probably got it on the diet, didn't she? Yeah, I can see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not gonna deny it, Mr. Ryu? Alright then, I'm just gonna come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know how best to answer that, really. It's a big yes. Suppose sometimes. You're not gonna deny it either, Miss Lestrade? But not this time, alright? I swear. That thing belongs to me. The disc that Mr. Winterbeck is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Alright, let's talk to him. Sure, why not, you know? Dude, when does this get to the Hound of the Baskervilles? Mr. Winnebank, what exactly is this metal disc that Mr. Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. Oh, this is a music disc, you see, for use inside a music box. A music box? Yeah, we just looked at that a bit ago. What, you don't even know what a music box is? Disc, you Eastern lot ain't too savvy, eh? I know what a music box is, I've just never seen one of these discs before. The small protrusions on the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going, and beautiful music plays. So incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are so many different types of music box, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I have no way of knowing which particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. And that's it in a nutshell. I wouldn't have any customers for an item like this, even if the young lady forfeited it. Really, I'm already offering more than I should at a penny. That's a pack of lies. He told me that he said it was, well... He? Who? Never you mind, it just ain't right, that's all. That disc worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Here we go. She's been in before, of course, this little tatterdemalion. I see. And brought some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm an honest customer, me. So, is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? We just talked about this, man. Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. Okay. Ah, a storage ticket? So, Mrs. Strahd has actually come to redeem an article from you today, is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me has a lot of stuff what needs storing. Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. But as she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obliged to return the article to her. What was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Windibank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed. Oh. What? What's wrong with that? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? Ah, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn, the girl and I can agree a price. If the girl and I can agree a price. I'm confused. I thought you said that Miss Lestrade brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say. This heavy black coat which you returned to her cares, I'd understood it. That's right, yes. And rather unsurprisingly, as soon as the little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... Oh, maybe she just stole the storage ticket. What, don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? Oh, if you mean this disc, then yes, exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it? Quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Give it up. I'm just trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Miss Lestrade, may I ask who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me, old man. It's me old man's, ain't it? Is it, Miss Lestrade? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Oh, something's happening. Is this Shakespeare man? Or no? I think that... I don't know. This looks like a bad guy, though. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Oh my goodness. Oh. Good day to you, ladies, gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There is no problem. As long as you remove yourself, I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. You think you're such a gent, you should know how to wait in line. Well, You are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Eh? Who are you? How do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy to even remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Roker.
Yes, sir.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you. No?
Yes,
The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my! Now that's a lie. What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you astral. And needless to say, any music box discs too. No, you can't have it. You just can't. It's me old man's, or it was, now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Ryu. This is a very awkward situation. Yes, I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Alright. Let's hear about it. Mrs. Strahd, is what the gentleman is saying? What do you think? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. I swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that dandy before.
Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. You stole it, didn't you? That ticket you brought in here just now.
No, I swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. I was walking along the streets, minding my own business, when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again? Oh yes. As you can see, I am a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time that I've been targeted by these back-slum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat.
Oh, come along now, Mr. Strahd. Give the good gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Get Rolly in here.
Hold on, why does everyone think it's me? Just look at this dandy cove, and you think I'm the dodgy one?
I'm sorry, but no one's going to believe you.
Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence that I've stolen something, huh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence, naturally. You what? Let's see the evidence. Evidence that the article Mr. Strahd redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman. Of course, we need only consult Mr. Winnebake's ledger to know the truth. We'll be able to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant.
I'm very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Oh?
I never ask customers' names. That's a strict policy of mine.
But why not? It seems very important, actually.
Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity.
Yes, I see. But then how can you know if an article belongs to the person asking to redeem it?
Oh, it's quite simple.
It's a ticket.
Good sir, might I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question?
Oh, like a password. Of course, it's Professor.
Yes, that's right. And all the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article, without doubt.
Watchword, interesting. Come on, we know what this is. So, about these watchwords, Mr. Windibank.
As I just explained, I never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret.
Look at Sholmes over there, what a nerd. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Great detectives have no dark secrets, none at all.
Yes, well, anyway, that's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. The date deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identify each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword.
That someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article?
That's right, sir. Yes, just as soon as the requisite fee is paid.
And I have supplied you with the information you require already. But for the avoidance of doubt, the article in question is an overcoat, deposited 2 months ago on 15th February. With a watchword of Professor.
All perfectly correct information, sir.
But Al, really, this is beyond a joke now. I've missed a phrase there, I'm sorry. There is no further room for doubt. Alright. Let me talk to him maybe now. Excuse me, but who are you? One would expect the inquirer to introduce himself first. Though clearly you are not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry, yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh, yes, Japan. I've heard talk of the place. What was that move? Its inhabitants live on some fiery, brown-colored soup, dressed up with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical gesticulation about? Perhaps. Anyway, if you are a gentleman, sir, you offer your own name first, before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes. I'm Ryu. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Susato. I am Ryu's assistant. I see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Eggert Benedict. He expects applause or something. Enchanté. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks, but that name is suspicious. Now, to the matter at hand. My overcoat, return it at once to someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, can't stand watching him. That's a police reference. Every move you make, every breath you take, I'll be watching you. This is a fun one today. This is a fun scene here. Oh, look at him now. He's looking all dapper.
So, let that be an end to the matter. And thank you for your custom, Mr. Eggert Benedict, sir.
Lovely. With such reasonable rates of interest, I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. Just because I'm a diver, everyone thinks that makes me a liar. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker.
But of course, sir. Here is the disc for you.
Just this one?
Pardon, sir?
I was expecting another. That is, I deposited another. Another disc?
Oh, oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that what was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now.
So, Gutterling, you are hiding more of what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine.
Oh boy.
What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc. It's because of all those sharp little bumps. Dude, this is nothing like the Hound of the Baskervilles. What's going on here? The man must have scratched his finger on them. I found it first, alright? I mean, it belongs to me, old man. So you're not having it. Or you take it. Me? I hang on to it, they'll have it off me again. So you keep hold of it. Mrs. Stroud, why is this so important to her? I don't know. It's in the court record, even. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc to me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Hold on, let's look at it. Maybe it has someone's name on it. McGilded. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck onto the reverse side of the disc, look. And a scribbled word or two, it looks like somebody's name. It's definitely McGilded. Or McGilded. McGilded, it couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Ryu. A name I shall never forget, for as long as I live. But why? Why is this name on this? I wonder if he faked his own death. I feel like he faked his own death. Look at all the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. Just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. Yes, the blood of the mysterious Mr. Eggert Benedict. Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pin scratched his fingers, it seems. Like when you're grating some daikon radish and accidentally catch your finger. Ouch, just thinking about it hurts. Puts me off eating radish. Alright. We don't present either? What are we doing here? Wow, Mrs. Shard is really looking daggers at that mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Look at Mr. Windibank watching diligently over his shop. There are still so many things I'm curious about. Somehow I don't really feel like this is the right time to be browsing. Calming this fraught situation must be our first priority. I'm fairly certain that we can find just the great thing we need among the articles here in this shop. Alright, should we try the music box? It's not gonna let us do the music box, is it? That would've been nice. Look at those piercing eyes. He's clearly in no mood to talk. We have to do something quickly before this mysterious gentleman leaves to fetch the police or something. Okay. This one down here. Let's talk to Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. Uh-oh. So, you found me at last, Mr. Ryu. Sorry? After that young pickpocket sent me on my way, I was forced to lurk in the shadows, cruelly ostracized as the rest of you partook in the jovial atmosphere of fellowship. I had nothing to occupy my mind, but was too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I have left, the 7% solution of caramel. What's his problem? Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Ryu? How could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. And why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know. Yes, I overheard much of your conversation. Or rather, in my craving for human contact, my ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Poor Mr. Sholmes, I feel simply awful for you. It would seem that my inferences are correct. Oh, surely you're not about to tell us that you've solved the entire case once again? My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized? Was that the right commoditized? Yeah, commoditized. How much could you pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes has had another of his flashes of inspiration. But who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. What's the right thing to do here? Gosh, we have to listen to the deduction, even if it's going to be terrible. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blaze have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there, you help. Straight away, not an hour later. Harsh. And who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Eggert Benedict? You have, in my eyes, a veritably encyclopedic array of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. I beg your pardon. The first is this. The true reason for your visit to this pawnbrokery today is something you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. A considerable crime is in contemplation, one you will orchestrate with the intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? Ow. It's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It would seem that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pain expression I was looking for. Oh boy, here we go. So, shall we begin? Time has come for yet another of Herlock Sholmes' logic and reasoning spectacular. Gosh, we're gonna have to do this and then we have to correct it, you know? We're gonna go over time today, I think. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. Yeah, that's something. As revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to the shop in the first place is a staff recruitment flyer. The piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement from this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need of such employ. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane, which you unwittingly clutched to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. What utter rot. I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, missing ferrule. The end of any walking cane would be terminated with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet, detailed analysis shows the wooden tip of this stick to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. Interesting. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Aye. And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitate the answer to your next conundrum to present yourself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. From the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. What walking cane to maintain such a stout handle? Mused I. But of course, as I said, this is no walking cane. No, that rod is the broken handle of a shovel. Interesting. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here, I'm gonna say something ridiculous, was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premises. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. No, not true. Incorrect, buddy. Great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. You suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel? What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? What a move. I love that move. Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose? Say, for such a fanciful theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? Oh, but there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. What? That is considered what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this and covertly dig beneath its floor. The answer is revealed by the council notice on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage works, beneath this shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank on the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath our feet, you would gain access to the waterway. That flows in very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you... In summary, sir, you devised a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? He actually seems wounded by that. Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. With what plunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. But naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us all we need to know. Oh, is that the upcoming thing that we heard about in the third case? A postcard of the Great Exhibition? I'm afraid you've quite lost me. Currently, in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exhibition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete its centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vaults of the bank on the other side of the road. Pardon? Yes, the considerable crime you have been contemplating is the theft of that which sits in the vault of that bank, the special reserve funds for the Great Exhibition. Of course, that is top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Alright. Now we have to tear this apart. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction out of this pawnbroking puzzle. Fantastic. Mr. Holmes? Well, Mr. Ryu? An impressively upbeat deduction for a detective racked with loneliness, would you not agree? Was it true what you said about the bank over the road and what it has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of its existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Gregson told me, in the strictest confidence. You just announced it to everyone here, rather loudly in fact. Ah, and if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There can be but one explanation for that. Clearly it is because the man is a criminal. Criminals just know things. But what if he didn't know anything about the money in the vault? If he is a criminal, as you said, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you've revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Winnebank will. He already has plenty of shovels here after all.
On my life, I assure you I am not so scrupulous.
Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost of care. One can never be sure that someone privy to secrets won't disclose them, and once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. Ryu. Great. Well then, Mr. Ryu, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to that great deduction again, and see if we can massage it into shape. Here we go. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent, logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright, let's knock this out. Course correction. See when we get to a point of correction. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. So, by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Benedict came in here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor. Yes, an attempt to tunnel into the sewers to gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with the broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? What did bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? Ooh, what's all this? Oh! Look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. I don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name, Gino Lestrade. Height, 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, grubby white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. She's even a sketch of her, hat and all. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Winnebank's Pawnbrokery, Baker Street, redemption deadline 15th April. Which is today's date. Why would Mr. Benedict have all that information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? That's definitely the thing though, isn't it?
Take that!
Break that glass. Yeah. Yes, what brought you here to the shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer pertain to the pickpocket, Miss Lestrade, and to Mr. Winnebank's Pawnbrokery here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. Oh, that was Sean's voice, whoops. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today, by which I mean here to Winnebank's Pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So, you waited outside for the young girl matching the description you have written down to arrive. And you have gone to some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. Yep. The cane, which you unwittingly clutch to your person, exhibits an incontrovertible... Yep. Let's look at the cane. It probably has to do with the letters at the top. What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found on the end of a cane, Mr. Ryu. Ah, the bit that makes a nice clacking sound on the pavement? Yes, exactly, and Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. Doesn't actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't, though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Look here, Mrs. Sato. There's some letters on the handle. Ah yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letters of their names. So Harlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. And the initials on this cane, obviously... Oh, AG. Why does it feel as though that's not quite right? I know, right? Well, there's nothing else on the cane. What's on the back side? No. So let's do the initials.
Take that!
Ow. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Eggert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are E.B. I don't know why I said the dots. Yet, in a most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG. No, you're wrong. This cane isn't. You said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in the park. In short, no, you hold yourself to you have withheld your true name. Ah. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? Yep, here's the next thing. Okay. Let's consider the bare bones of what's happened here. Miss Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking overcoat. Now a mysterious man has appeared, introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Miss Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here is somehow prove that the overcoat cannot possibly belong to him. Ah, so let's look at the overcoat. Back of it. Split seam so it doesn't fit him either. It's too big. Or too small, rather. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Look. So it is. Do you know, a moment ago when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise. It sounded a bit like a tiny growl. Now I think it was probably the sound of the seam ripping open. Look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. Sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it at the front. If he were to run around in it, and I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? Oh, she likes it. She's really giving this some thought.
Take that!
Easy peasy. Split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see? Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so baldly lied about your name and so boldly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalog of untruths has all been for one very specific purpose. Yeah. Yeah. But what really irks me is this. The considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. Alright, that's one down. So, how did he learn the code word? That's what I want to know. That seems an important thing. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. Yep. That was a crazy sentence. Have you forgotten that I redeemed the article in the proper manner using the watchword? Had I not been the one to deposit it in the first place, how could I possibly have known the relevant details? I mean, I think someone easily could have snuck in and looked at the thing in there on the counter. Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Ah, and your furtive glance is more telling than I could have hoped. Yep, it's just the ledger. Let us consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword relating to the pawn property of another. The method is revealed by the council note. No. Yeah. The direction of the change must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewers. Which is a pity because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, you can't deny that this mysterious gentleman did know the watchword. Yes, Professor. If you didn't know that word, Mr. Winnebeck would never allow you to redeem the article. But looking at it another way, if you did know that word, Mr. Winnebeck would allow you to redeem the article, whether it was yours or not. The question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Obviously. Baker Street Works is the title. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I thought that was a ledger. The ledger's the big book above it. Stupid. I'm not gonna read all this at all. Too. Oh, is this little thing the ledger actually? Not the big book? Look at this, Mrs. Sato. Ah, it appears to be a memo that Mr. Winnebeck has scribbled to himself. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, Professor! You just wrote it down right there. Mr. Winnebeck must make a note of the watchwords his customers give him, right before their eyes. And in an alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear, I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Perfect. There we go. Notelet.
Take that!
The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down the response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. I would expect nothing less of a diligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It's increasingly apparent that you were present in the shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Winnebeck. When the diligent broker made a note of the watchword as is common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was a master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. There we go, we got it. Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem that particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? Or an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box disc. But naturally, you had very good reason to make them yours, didn't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Allow me to present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, the picture of postcard... Yeah, this is where we... Articles we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box discs that are... Oh my god. Which, according to Mr. Winnebank, isn't even worth a penny. And yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps you already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Ryu. Would we? Really? Better have a thorough look through all the evidence we've collected so far. We have 2 pieces of evidence. Yeah, it's just that, because it has Mr. McGilded on the back. You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads for McGilded. Gosh. Mr. Magnus McGilded, the unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prominent man in London, though his loan mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So, you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGilded was a man of unusually small stature, in fact. He was precisely the right size for that overcoat that you've squeezed yourself into. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Eggert Benedict, but the final conclusion here is crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today... Oh yeah, there we go. Was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGilded. Interesting. We did it. We did it, we did it, we did it. It's definitely more about the disc, I think, than the coat. We did good, though. And we're way over time for the video. Holy moly. We've been in this room for so long. Well, well, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mr. Sato. Well, according to what Mr. Winnebank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. Today would be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited.
Well, today is 15th April, so 2 months ago today.
Would have been 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. So was that after he died? Deposited at 10:30 p.m., I see.
What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February. It's precisely the day on which the omnibus murder took place. And 10:30 in the evening, it's precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not the word. It would seem that the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However, I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Let's not do it. Let's see if we die. There are some things a man must protect at all costs. This may well be one of those things. Then again, it may not. Mr. Winnebank!
This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers if that were to happen. I should have to...
Mr. Winnebank, no!
Alright, that's enough.
Fantastic. Inspector Gregson! Inspector? That's right, Sunshine. Their alarm was raised on one of our dedicated emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about, huh?
Oh, praise be, you're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my own life in my very own establishment.
It would seem you have the upper hand. There we go. Right, you lot have got some explaining to do. I don't appreciate being bothered with some petty argy-bargy. Petty? Mr. Winnebank very nearly met it with his end. Yeah, by his own gun as far as I can tell.
Oh dear.
And the whole of Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What? What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no detail, Gregson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. He's getting away. Get after him, lads. He got away. Did he get away with the discs, though? There's been a spate of thefts at pawn shops around here recently, so we fitted emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble.
Oh, Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed.
Now then, Mr. Permanently in mourning. Oh, yes? I'll be taking that whatever it is of McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much. So hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. It's mine. I'm sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? The police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow. We have no choice but to capitulate. Capitulate. It's all yours, Inspector. And so, we handed Mr. McGilded's disc over to Inspector Gregson, and were summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. Interesting beginning. To be continued. Oh, man. So I wonder if the case that Gregson's working on is the Hound of the Baskervilles. And then I wonder if the stuff Mr. McGilded stuff isn't going to come up again until next time. Until the case in the next game, you know? The first case of the next game. We'll see. But we're way over time today. But I had a fun time. I really loved Mr. Winnebank. He was hilarious. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, for hanging out, for chilling, listening to me ramble for an hour and a half almost. Make sure that you take care of yourself. Make sure that you take care of others. And I will see you next time. Peace out.